Welcome to This Explainer. I want to kick things off by asking you a pretty fundamental question about the way businesses operate today. We live in a market defined by constant disruption, massive technological shifts, and, well, totally unpredictable crises. So in that kind of environment, is simply following the rules truly enough to thrive, or are we just kind of trying not to fail?
Think about your own organization for a second. Really picture it. Think about your compliance standards, your basic regulatory checklists. Hitting those minimums might feel pretty good, right? It gets you that nice certificate to hang on the wall in the lobby. But consider whether that basic compliance is actually giving you a false sense of security. When a real, genuine crisis hits, does checking off a basic list actually keep your company afloat?
So, to put that into perspective, let's use a quick school analogy. Passing a standard like ISO 9001, that's basically like getting a passing grade in class. It focuses on compliance and process minimums. It means you showed up, you did the homework, you passed. But the Malcolm Baldrige model? That is about becoming the absolute valedictorian. It goes completely beyond traditional regulations by focusing holistically on bottom-line results and massive value creation for every single stakeholder involved.
To demystify this massive framework, here's our roadmap for today. First, beyond basic quality compliance. Second, the 7 pillars of success. Third, real-world sector applications. Fourth, the implementation playbook. And finally, the cost of excellence.
All right, let's dive right into Section 1, Beyond Basic Quality Compliance.
So, what exactly is this thing? Well, the Malcolm Baldrige Model is a comprehensive management framework, and it was designed by the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST for short. The absolutely crucial point here is that this isn't just some quality management tool focused on isolated little processes. It's a whole system. It's designed to bridge that massive, frustrating gap between a leader's overarching vision and the actual tangible business results on the ground. Think of it as the ultimate connector between the idea and the execution.
To really understand its impact, we have to look at where it came from. Established by the U.S. Congress way back in 1988, it became a huge success, officially ranking as the second most adopted excellence model globally by 2021. But pay close attention to that 2024 update. Historically, this model faced a lot of heavy criticism for being way too bureaucratic and complex. I mean, there's a bit of irony there, right? An excellence model that was almost too inefficient to use? So in 2024, NIST launched a reimagined version. They simplified the criteria to foster agility and actually help small and medium-sized businesses use it without getting bogged down.
Moving right along to Section 2, the 7 pillars of success. This systemic framework basically turns subjective management into an empirically valid science. It breaks down into 7 key areas. You've got leadership, which guides the vision; strategy, converting goals to action plans; customers, prioritizing market loyalty; measurement, acting as the company's intelligence hub; workforce, focusing on human capital; operations for process efficiency; and finally, results. It's all graded on a 1,000-point scale. But look closely at how those points are weighted. Notice anything surprising?
Yeah, 450 out of those 1,000 points, a massive 45%, go exclusively to results. I really want to emphasize this because it's a huge differentiator. The Baldrige model doesn't just give you a gold star for trying hard or having a beautifully designed theoretical process. No way. It aggressively demands tangible, financial, operational, and customer success metrics. Put simply, if your brilliant strategy isn't yielding sustained, measurable success, then it isn't excellent.
Okay, let's jump into Section 3, Real-World Sector Applications.
To take this from theory to reality, this quote from Firstbow and Bauer perfectly captures the practical impact. They cite the University of Wisconsin Stout, which utilized this exact framework to completely transform its organizational structure. And here's the best part. By adopting the model, they actually reduced bureaucracy. They did this by creating an advisory council that fostered multi-directional communication and really participatory decision-making. It absolutely proves the framework works systemically to initiate true improvement.
But what happens when things go completely off the rails? Let's say a pharmaceutical company facing litigation, severe supply shortages, and plummeting employee morale. Total nightmare scenario, right? Well, the Baldrige framework tackles this disruption holistically across 3 distinct fronts. First, leadership steps up with transparent, ethical conduct for the regulatory bodies. Second, operations gets right to work unblocking those supply chain bottlenecks. And third, the workforce is actively supported with mental health and incentive programs to stop absenteeism. It's not a temporary band-aid, it's a structural alignment to literally save the business.
So the takeaway here is that this framework is highly adoptable. There's a common myth floating around that Baldrige is only for massive traditional manufacturing plants. Totally not true. In healthcare, it optimizes patient safety and hospital return on assets. In education, it drives student success in clinical diagnostics. And in the public sector, like vocational rehabilitation, it prevents agencies from getting lost in endless administrative paperwork so they can actually focus on effective job placement for everyday citizens.
Let's move on to Section 4, the Implementation Playbook.
If you're wondering how to actually start, here are the 3 critical steps. First up, active leadership. This change absolutely cannot be delegated to some external committee. Senior management has to drive this, and they have to do it visibly. Second, the small wins strategy. You are not going to reinvent the whole company overnight. Target just 1 or 2 critical areas first. This builds credibility and prevents your staff from feeling totally overwhelmed. And third, evidence-based adjustments. You have to use real-time digital systems and robust KPIs to monitor your progress objectively. Now, we need to set some realistic expectations here. See this number, 3 to 5? While you might actually see operational morale and efficiency start to improve in the first 6 to 12 months, a full cultural transformation, the kind that yields real, sustained financial results, typically takes 3 to 5 years of cyclical evaluations. It's a marathon, not a sprint. This is a long-term strategic commitment, not a quick fix.
Which brings us to our final section, Section 5, the Cost of Excellence.
We have to be honest, the resource drain here can be immense. Experts warn of something called documentary density. Basically, the sheer amount of rigorous paperwork required for internal audits and applying for awards is huge, and it can actually distract senior management from their daily operations. Furthermore, the capital investment required for specialized consulting is a very real, very substantial obstacle, particularly for leaner, small, and medium-sized enterprises. You really have to be prepared to invest heavily to get those massive results out of it.
There's also a really fascinating modern debate going on right now. It's the perceived slowness of Baldrige versus the rapid speed of agile and lean methodologies. In tech sectors where things literally change daily, a Baldrige annual cycle can feel super rigid. But here's the secret. They are completely compatible. Actually, Baldrige serves as the global strategic umbrella. It gives absolute purpose and direction to your agile tools, ensuring that those rapid daily optimizations are actually aligning with your long-term bottom-line results.
So we've covered the history, the 7 pillars, the real-world applications, and the tough realities of implementation. The Malcolm Baldrige model is, at its core, a perpetual journey. It's a strategic mirror that forces an organization to look hard at its weaknesses and figure out how to turn them into competitive advantages. So I'll leave you with this thought-provoking challenge as you look at your own organization's future. Are you just building for compliance, or are you truly engineering for excellence? Think about it. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.